Hello everyone. My name is Yusuf, and I'm absolutely thrilled to be your host for this exciting talk show, which is a part of ABC Conclave, all about crypto. All About Crypto is world's largest crypto carnival, said to be the most prestigious conference in Dubai, scheduled on 7th and 8th of October. This extraordinary event combines gaming and esport tournaments, vibrant music festival, and captivating cosplay, attracting a diverse audience of over 20,000 plus attendees from across the globe. The talk shows are a part of pre event activities. Today's talk show topic is Blockchain Beyond Borders, building global bridges for innovation and adoption. Embracing this theme, we are honored to be joined by subject experts and blockchain visionaries hailing from various corners of the world: USA, UAE, India, and Singapore. The significance of our gathering lies in the undeniable impact of blockchain technology, which has surpassed geographical limitations, uniting a diverse community of innovators and adopters from every corner of the globe. This serves as a powerful testament to the transformative potential of blockchain, transcending borders and fostering collaboration on a global scale. If at any point the audience has any questions for our speakers, please feel free to write it down in the chat. We will try and take a few questions if the time permits. Without further ado, let me introduce our esteemed panelists. First up, we have Mr. Kris Bennett, also known as the blockchain beard guy with 20 plus years of IT services consulting experience. Kris is a passionate Web3 educator and architect. As a co-founder of leading blockchain education company, Kris has certified over 150,000 students in blockchain technologies. He is a prominent figure in the blockchain community, advocating for transformative change through education and innovation. We're honored to have you, Kris, at our panel today.
Oh, thank you. It's an honor to be here.
The honor is ours, Kris. Anyways, let's move on to our next panelist, Mr. Shailesh Kunnath. So Shailesh will be joining us in a few minutes. But a little bit about Mr. Shailesh is he's a passionate advocate for blockchain technology and a co-founder of Masary Capital, a MENA-focused VC firm. With a solid grasp of economics and financial models, Shailesh actively invests in startups across various industries, including crypto, fintech, healthcare, and more. He also brings expertise as an aircraft engineer and member of the Royal Aeronautical Society. Shailesh's diverse expertise and unwavering dedication to blockchain investments and aviation make him a valuable asset to our panel. And we are delighted to have him with us today in a few minutes. So, extremely honored to have our next panelist. Meet Raj Kapoor, the founder of India Blockchain Alliance, a leading tech think tank with over 50 advisory board memberships in blockchain companies. He is a global blockchain and cryptocurrency educator and a certified Bitcoin professional. Raj is also a TEDx speaker, AI, robotics, and cyber security expert with a regular contribution to prestigious publications like Economic Times and Fortune. We're thrilled to have you, Raj, with your expertise on our panel today.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you so much.
The pleasure is ours, Raj. So moving on, we have our next panelist, Mr. Anndy Lian. Anndy is a dynamic business strategist in Asia with extensive experience advising various industry governments and public listed companies, an early adopter of blockchain. He's also a serial entrepreneur, best-selling author, an avid investor, and Andy's passion for blockchain and his belief in its transformative potential drives his mission to revolutionize traditional businesses. We're thrilled to have you, Andy, with your expertise and insights today. So our talk show is moderated by Jenny Zheng, a seasoned media professional with over 13 years of experience. In 2017, she founded Blockcast, a Singapore-based blockchain media and official Google news source. With a substantial subscriber base of 80,000 and a mailing list of 250,000, Blockcast has become a prominent platform in the blockchain and technology space. Jenny is not only an exceptional keynote speaker and panelist, but also a skilled moderator. Her profound understanding of media and blockchain makes her a confident and charismatic speaker on stage. We are privileged to have you, Jenny, leading our talk show today. So today we have the privilege of hosting brilliant minds from different corners of the world, each contributing unique expertise and insights to this talk show. I extend a warm welcome to each one of you to this enlightening talk show on blockchain beyond borders, building global bridges for innovation and adoption. Without further ado, I hand the reins to Jenny Zheng to steer us through this exciting journey. Over to you, Jenny.
Why don't you start asking us the questions? We are all ready. Or some audiences there. Maybe you can ask some of the questions till Jenny recovers her voice.
Yeah, let's start talking. I think
Let's start talking. Otherwise, we love to see each other's face, but that's fine. We've already seen that. So let's get talking.
Yeah.
We have seen the least of Kris's face because it's all covered with his beard, and the most of Andy. He's clean shaven. I'm in the middle somewhere there. I got a mustache, but no beard. Guys, all three of us are here. So maybe you can start till Jenny gets back her voice or her mojo. And,
Yes, she's actually speaking at the moment, but there's some there's some issue over there.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay. I think we can ask a few questions. Like from my end, I think I'll ask a question.
Yeah.
So given Mr. Raj, given your experience in supporting startups and investing in emerging technologies, what criteria do you consider when selecting promising blockchain products to invest in?
Quite simple, actually. They should be solving some real world problem. Otherwise, there's a lot of fluff in the market. And typically in a day, I get about 20, 25 proposals of saying, right, we are the best thing since sliced bread. But there's nothing really been there since sliced bread. Nothing much has been happening since then. So what I really see is 3-4 things which I really look out for. One is very critically, is it solving a real world problem? And if it's not solving the real world problem, how is it enhancing existing solutions? Either of the two. Solving a real world problem is the first, that's for sure. The second thing I see, whether the promoters have the wherewithal in them to actually last beyond the first year. And I'm not talking about money, I'm not talking about finance. Finance, we can pick up on the way, yes, if we have a good product. The third, I always ask them, do you have a validation? And validation, I mean, do you have a customer, even if it's a small one, even if it's a proof of concept, do you have that? If they have it, great. No, we'll get something for them, not a problem. But again, product should be great. The next thing I would like to say is the promoters themselves. Are they really hungry? Are they really going to dig their heels deep inside and lust? And most important, I always check whether their family and friends have funded them first before anything else. If your family friends don't trust your product, sorry guys, I'm not going to really put my money inside there either, or I'm not going to recommend it either. So there are 4 or 5 things. There are many, many more features, and of course, I would love to see their tech team, because most of the failures I've seen, because most startups either don't have a tech team, or they've outsourced tech, or the tech guy suddenly gets a better offer and leaves off halfway through the whole program. So I see the tech team especially, and that's my criteria. I'm sure everybody has a different criteria, but that's what I see. At the end of the day, I see whether I can, when I'm advising them, and if I can make a difference. Last year, I was very fortunate to advise several companies, and we had 17 of these companies getting funded. So I think I must have done something right out there. So I think I'm sticking to my 4 or 5 things, which I do. I'm sure Andy and Kris will have their opinion as well. Back to you.
Yeah. So yeah, I would love to hear some of the opinions of Kris and Andy. Like, if you have anything to add on to those points that Raj just told.
Sure, I'll jump in there. I think Raj makes some great points. Number one, he really hit the nail on the head. It's so easy, I think, with emerging technology to get caught up in the excitement of the new technology. But if you're not using that technology to either solve a real world problem and give your users some ability they didn't have previously, or make some existing ability better, well, then you're just kind of wasting everybody's time, including your own. So I think Raj really hit the nail on the head with that. A couple other things I look for. Again, it's very, very easy to focus on the technology. I think a lot of us kind of intuitively think, hey, whoever's first on this scene with this technology is going to win. But history oftentimes shows that's not the case. For example, we can look back at e-commerce. You guys probably remember a tiny little company 30 years ago that was selling books online and came to dominate the world of global shopping, Amazon.com. But actually, they were not the first ones selling books online. The very first online book retailer was a company called Bookstacks Unlimited. Anybody ever heard of them? No. So I think sometimes there's a rush to get behind whoever's first to market without really looking at, hey, are they giving users a new ability or improving an existing one? Other things I look for, hey, are you able to explain the value of your solution or what it is you want to build without talking about the technology? Can you tell me why what you want to build is good without talking about blockchain or crypto or Web3? And then finally, I think the team, right? Technology is great, but technology doesn't build things by itself. What does that team look like? Is there a good winning team? Do we have good, solid resources, not just focused on technology, but really on all areas of the business: marketing, communications, finance, management, user support, etc. So those would be kind of some of the things I'd look for, and I'd really love to hear Andy's thoughts on what he thinks is important.
Sure. I hope you can hear me right now, but what I look at would be really slightly different. Thanks. Whenever we are in the space of blockchain, for example, most people look at use cases. Yes, I think use cases are very important, but if you look at many of these projects, they actually over exaggerated the technology that they have. I mean, damn it, man, the technology is the same, right? Some people can say that they have some of the fastest blockchain, but there's nobody using it. So what's the point? It's not put into a good test. So I'm not sure, at what kind of context we are talking about this, but from my personal context, I look at things fairly straightforward. In this current Web3 arena, I look at people and how much this people or community is able to generate out certain outputs that I want. It could be volume, it could be social volume, it could be monetary volume, it could be the kind of good partnerships that they have. I'm really more of a community guy. If there's no community, let's not talk about investing in the project. I'm more like a sniper than trying to get hold of many projects at the same time, because as an investor, I always look at it from a more sniper standpoint, right? We don't have that kind of energy to take over 10, 20 projects at a time. That's not feasible. We are not robots. So I tend to look at this from a more sniper standpoint. Yeah.
Hello, guys. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes,
can
yes.
hear you.
Oh, great. Finally, I'm back. and I'm glad to see Shailesh is here too. So we didn't miss out a lot. So my name is Jenny, and I'm the co-founder of Blockcast. I don't know where you guys at. Good morning, good evening, and good night. I'm currently in Seoul, so it's kind of like 9:20 in my time. So are we on the second question? To Mr.
Yep.
Anndy Lian, right? So,
Yep.
Mr. Shailesh, you are just at the right time. The next question is for you. So, here is the question. In what ways can blockchain create opportunities for economic growth and development in Middle East, Africa, and Asia? And how can crypto and blockchain association support this effort? Mr. Shailesh?
Hey, thank you for the question. And yeah, I made it. It was a bit difficult, challenging, but hey, I'm here. Thank you for having me here. A great question. So I'm based out of Dubai, and Dubai has always been in the forefront whenever it comes to innovation, whenever it comes to any technology, right? We always want to be the first. We always want to be the best, and that's always been the motto for Dubai. I remember back in 2016, one of our partner companies, um, we worked with the government in order to build the uh, land department's title deeds on blockchain back in 2016, before anybody even spoke about blockchain on an enterprise level, right? So the new technology comes with new opportunities, right? So since 2016 in Dubai, we had seen a huge drive from the government to educate uh, the nationals and also the expatriates to embrace new technology, right? Um, and to provide solutions to the current existing technologies, using blockchain. So uh, I want to say Dubai has given tons of opportunities, and I'm super glad that you have people from different industries that's embracing blockchain, number one. But the best way would be to encourage and promote blockchain to other industries, so they see the value of blockchain, and they would start building on it as a basic infrastructure. For example, we don't ask questions such as why do we need a cloud solution or why 5G. It's become a norm, it's become a basic infrastructure need. So once we evolve into blockchain as being one of the basic infrastructures that every uh, uh, enterprise and government want to build on, then I believe the opportunities would just explode, and more and more opportunities for everybody will come about.
Okay, great. And next question is for Mr. Kris Bennett. As blockchain technology matures, what do you see as the most critical next steps to promote the widespread awareness and understanding of its potential beyond borders? Mr. Kris Bennett.
Yeah, that's such a great and exciting question. I think, and obviously I'm a little bit biased about this given my mission, but I think the best next step is education. Just getting people to understand what the technology is, what it's about, why it's so exciting. There's really two steps if we look at the learning journey, whether you're learning blockchain or anything else. The first thing you want to learn is, well, what is it? What is blockchain? What is crypto? How does it work? What's going on behind the scenes? But learning that what is only really important so you can learn the so what. Why does it matter? What can I do with it? What kind of change can I affect in the world? And what kind of opportunities present themselves when we use this technology? So I think that critical first step is just getting people to understand what this technology can do, what it's all about, why it's so exciting, and how it can apply to their life. We talk about this as being Web3, but we don't use that term lightly. This really is the third generation of the internet. If you think about all the change and opportunity that the internet has introduced into the world over the past few decades, we're poised to see that happen all over again. So if anybody's sitting there watching this and maybe just starting to get into the blockchain waters, I encourage you to jump right in. We need all the people we can get right now, and it's such an incredible and exciting time to be getting involved. So get yourself educated, figure out what's going on, what excites you, and go make your contribution. Make a name for yourself in the world of blockchain. We'd love to have you.
Can I add something to that, Kris? Can I ask?
Sure.
Sure. Kris, I think education not only is important for people to understand blockchain, but I think even for the entire ecosystem, but it includes all stakeholders, including VCs, founders, everybody, because a lot of VCs don't really understand blockchain. I speak to a lot of them. Some do, some keep experts. But I think if we have a holistic ecosystem that understands blockchain, that will give it more wings. Right now, a lot of courses, etc., are actually primed at youngsters, students, people getting into this space. But I think if we don't ignore the rest of the ecosystem and get them also on board, I think we'll have a better adoption rate than we're having right now. Maybe a founder schools, a VC school for technology. I think that we've already started that in India, by the way. I work with more than 200 universities right across the country, and we put in these schools, and we do a lot of VC sessions in India and a lot of HNI sessions, making them aware of the opportunities which these technologies give us. And I think the awareness is perfect, education is perfect. Let's just bring the highway a little more now. Let's extend the highway. That's all what we need. That's my 2 cents.
100%. Raj, and I think you hit on a very important point that I want to call out to the rest of the audience, which is, hey, there's room in this space for everybody, right? It's not just for developers and technical folks, for software engineers, right? If you're interested in economics or marketing or finance or management or human resources or investment or any other discipline, there is room for you to contribute. So I absolutely echo your thoughts, Raj.
Same here. It's never too late to jump in, and the general public need education, and institutions also need to learn. And just like Mr. Shailesh has mentioned, like at very first beginning, like associations, institutions is also trying to help. And here I want to ask Mr. Anndy Lian, since you have a rich experience in working with like governments and regulatory bodies, so what are the key strategies that those like regulators can implement to create a enabling environment for those like cross-border blockchain innovation and adoption? Like, what should the government do? You know, like we are educating ourselves. What should they do?
Sure. I think first of all, these are really big questions. So far, if you look at the regulation framework, many of these countries are not regulated, or maybe not ready for regulations, within their own country. And needless to say that, cross-border transactions and so forth would be something that they really care about, because their banks would be really upset. Their outflow of their capital and outflow of their money is something that they really care about. So I think my really humble suggestion is to get the government themselves understand what they actually want. I just had a session with the Turkish ministry 2 weeks ago. I was in Ankara, telling them about what they could do with their current system, current database system that have more than 7,000 gigabyte of data. It is a huge set of data, and to be honest, the end conclusion is there's no need for blockchain to be there. The other thing that I really want to say is that, because I really talk to many different government and take part in different crypto bills, decentralized closed door sessions, with the government and the regulator. I tend to see a lot of these really sales driven consultants, that are there trying to sell what they can sell, to the government, whether it's going to be to the Saudi government or going to the Dubai government, or in Asia as well. They are overselling the whole technology that is just making things a lot more worse than what it is supposed to be. So humbly, again, I love to say that, that there should be a certain threshold or certain ways to sieve out all these consultants. If we really want the government to believe the work that we are doing, we really need to filter out all these guys. So yeah, that's why that's what I have in mind.
Yeah, that's true. Sometimes like even the government, the institutions don't. Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, Jenny, can I add to that? Thank you, Andy, for
Yeah, sure.
bringing that up, right? I mean, for me, there's a huge regulatory arbitrage that exists today. Every different country is working in silos. So if you really want to see worldwide adoption of this technology, all the government need to sit together on one table and just discuss and come up with a regulatory framework that will be implemented worldwide. As long as there are different rules and regulations for different countries, we can't really scale, is my personal opinion.
I agree with you. I agree with you, but also at the same point, on the same point, it is impossible and redundant to have the government having a one framework. They can understand each other, what they are trying to do, but having one framework would then be not making uh, uh, economic sense, because some countries are stronger, some countries are not, right? It's just like the passport, right? I hold a Singapore passport. My passport can go a lot of places, but if you hold a Chinese passport or Indian passport, because your nation is big, they just can't let everybody come into certain countries, right? So same analogy, is just good to know, but it's really tough to implement it worldwide. And because of the agenda, everybody's have a different agenda, so that is really tough, man. I love to see that happening, but as far as I can see, is not really possible, man.
I agree, Andy, completely. Right. Right now, we are in a phase where we think it's impossible, but there are opportunities that we need. I mean, okay, I believe this to starting point. Let's start the discussions, right, and then we see where we end up. But right now, there is no possibility, there's no opportunity, or there's no passion from the government to sit down, have a discussion, because right, I mean, do correct me if I'm wrong, right here. See, blockchain is not crypto. It's completely different. And everybody, all the government mixed that up and tried to have, regulations around the cryptocurrencies, but that's got nothing to do with the underlying technology of blockchain. You see, so at least if you separate this and have one for blockchain, separate that from the cryptocurrencies, etc. But the starting point should be that there should be, a collaboration between government. I mean, look at Mika. Mika is setting everything apart. They come together, the European Union, and say, "Hey guys, this is for the European Union." So it is possible. We see that being done in Europe. Now, if it's done in Europe, we could probably get something for Asia done as well. We could have an association, blockchain association for Asia, and then expand on that, to other parts of the world. But that's the best way to collaborate and the best way to scale, I believe, is to start the conversation. I understand, I agree with you, Andy, that right now it looks extremely difficult, but at least let's start the conversation somewhere.
I think that if we are talking about blockchain adoption itself, it has already been adopted. Many places. No one is going to talk about it. If you are talking about a collective structure for cryptocurrency, that is never gonna happen because of how the money and fiat is interrelated. If you look at Euro or Mika as an example, I think they are not doing well. So that's also one reason why it's really tough to have a common currency or even a common understanding. It will happen if there could be a World War III where everything is just destroy and remake, man. I mean, that could be quite extreme. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sure like whenever or whatever like path we're taking, but we're definitely going there. And now comes to the most important question, and I think like many like I think most of the traders or individual investors really care about is about the security, right? Because we hear a lot of hacking, like rug pulls or like a lot of those stuff. So people started to lose faith. So my next question is, as blockchain adoption grows globally, what potential risks and vulnerability need to be addressed to ensure the security and integrity of the cross-border transaction? And this question is for Raj, Mr. Raj.
Yeah, right. Thanks. Thanks, Jamie. Actually, it all leads out a little bit from what Andy and Shailesh was talking about. We need standards. I think the whole conversation should begin, first of all, with standards and frameworks. That could be common for a lot of countries. They don't have to be very specific. That's my take on that's my first. A second, that I think most important when you talk about security, one of the things, and I've spoken recently at the G20, and I've spoke that, and this has been taken up pretty seriously, and I hope it's actually implemented or at least talked about, is bringing about a lot more tech experts within the policy framework. When we talk policy, we talk it in all the big five-star hotels, we talk in big cities, we talk in all the great places. But frankly speaking, most of the people are none of the people, in fact, I've spoken to right now, excepting maybe very scattering few, are from the tech space. Why? Because of the same problem, the security aspect. That's where they can actually play a very big role in plugging the problems and actually giving inputs, and where the other policyholders and all stakeholders can actually play the other roles and make that very robust from a policy perspective, framework, and standards perspective. Now, coming back to the security from a tech perspective, listen, everything we talk about right from the time we enter a house and we lock our house always. Technology has lots of loopholes. And that's again, I stress on the fact that if you have somebody who understands technology fairly well, will also know how to plug those loopholes. You might have seen this movie, Catch Me If You Can, Leonardo DiCaprio. Great movie. It actually resonates with exactly the situation where we are right now. If you know the system, then you know how to beat the system. If you know how to beat the system, you'll know all the loopholes of the system, and then you'll know how to plug in those loopholes. That is where we really need, and education again plays a very critical role here. Not just education, awareness, and also understanding the blockchain's infrastructure. A lot of us don't understand the infrastructure, and our infrastructure is pretty broken. There are a lot of places where we can find multiple loopholes. You plug in one, you'll get another leak somewhere. It's like a boat with multiple leaks right now. There's a lot happening, yes, a lot of good stuff happening, but not happening fast enough, I feel. The second part, you talked about the scams, etc. That's nothing to do so much with security as that is that with intention. It's just like if I give you, we've got great tools. If I give you a good, if I give you a brick, you can either make a wall or you can make a bridge. You decide what you want to do with the brick. They're tools. So there are a lot of tools available, very little awareness about them, very little being done about awareness, and most important, everybody still, as Shailesh said, everybody still thinks it's crypto. There's a lot of huge differences out there. Awareness is critical, understanding, and anybody who's from the tech space out here, I think the core focus for the next few years should be the security aspect. Security is sacrosanct. It's just like we have this. Our elbow is the weakest link, or the wrist is the weakest link in our arm. That's going to snap first. Blockchain has that, especially where there is interoperability. There are so many other it's intersection with other technologies. There's a lot of things happening there. But security, I still feel, lacks the same intensity that it needs to have. There are some good work. There's some good work going on, but I guess it's still work in progress. We are still young. The technology is still young. I mean, let's face it. If you look at the enterprise level, they're hardly 4 or 5 years old. I mean, we make our mistakes, but then we grow, we fall, we scrape our knees and get up and run again. I think security is in the same space right now, but it's moving fast because with security, as it says, the word itself is there. You feel secure. And in crypto, when you talk about crypto, crypt means enclosed and kept in a safe place, like a crypt. So I guess it's a question of time before we talk more about security. Now, a lot of people understand blockchain. Now, what we need is a little more dissection as to where are the loopholes right now? Where are the security loopholes? I think that's what we'll need to plug now. And I think it's happening. We are, I think, more than halfway there. Next 3 to 5 years, we'll see a lot of things happening in this space. That's my 2 cents on the security aspect.
Very, very great insights. I'm learning a lot. And actually, I know that many platforms, blockchain platforms, like crypto, like companies, they are having all these bugs and and problems all the time, like every day. Just like a few days before, like CZ was posting something on his Twitter saying that, oh, we found a bug and we fixed it before the hacker found it. So yeah, it seems like we cannot stop it.
Yeah, I'll add one more thing to
try
that.
our best.
Jenny, one more thing I'd like to say. A lot of us, how many of us have actually been to the darknet? I don't think most of us have been to the darknet. And we have. That's where you get a host of solutions, actually, from a security perspective. As I said, to catch a thief, you need to think like one. I'm not saying one, you need to think like one. And you go to the darknet, not only will you find the problems, you'll also find a lot of solutions. But very few people know how to use the darknet properly. And then everybody thinks the darknet is only for doing the nefarious activities and things which we should not do. But listen, guys, get inside their brain, get inside their skin, then we'll come to know exactly what they're thinking. that's something which I will always. We've done a lot of work in this. I work a lot with a lot of agencies in India from a security perspective. I do a lot of crypto forensics, for that matter, of tracking and tracing crypto crime. And I tell you one thing: you get most of your solutions in the dark net. So just take a jab at it, get inside, have a little fun, walk out if you don't like it, but don't make that your default. That's my advice as well.
Yeah, actually, in this industry, there are lots of white hat hackers, and all the huge the world leading platforms. They all have this bounty system, like Binance, Bybit, OKX. They all have this bounty system. If you found something like serious problem on their platform, then you submit it to the bounty system. They will give you huge reward.
Absolutely, and that's
and legally you got the money, you got paid. Okay, cool. Thanks, Raj. And let's move to our next question. This question is about international partnerships and collaborations and how it can benefit all the participating parties and nations. So I will give these questions to Mr. Anndy Lian and Mr. Shailesh. So who want to go first?
Yeah, I would go. I believe we did touch on this topic earlier, right? On what sort of collaborations is needed, and for me, on a national level, or even I believe there are alliances out there in Dubai, in the UAE. There are various alliances that's bringing the stakeholders on the right platform to discuss these collaborations, and this is key. And to take it further, you got to. I believe what Raj said is that we need to have currently there are no tech oriented personnel in these decision makers. And let's be clear, and it's true, right? And that's a starting point, right? Sadly, the institutions, governments, they don't understand this yet, right? And they're not onboarding the tech people, the right tech people, to help them to make these collaborations. And I believe a lot of these smart minds today are not in the government sector; they're mainly in the private sector with the consultants, etc. Right, and that's other challenges. I think somebody did bring that up earlier, that the governments do listen to a lot of consultants, right? But in their team, they need to have a really good tech oriented.
Shailesh, this part I may cannot agree with you. Do you know why China banned crypto? Because they got these super smart ass people in their government, and then they look at all this thing and they study and they ask the top minds, top smart people, those mathematics gold medalists, and then they say, oh, this you will your people will spend money on this instead of on RMB, so you should ban it. That's why they ban it.
Right, Jenny. So again, coming back, crypto is not blockchain. That's the first point, right? It's completely different. This is technology. Cryptocurrency is something else, right? And that's a fundamental thing, that we all need to understand that, the spectrum is different. We're talking about a core infrastructure here, which is the blockchain, and then you have a cryptocurrency, which I completely agree. Is like Andy brought up as well. I don't think there could be a worldwide compliance regulatory framework for cryptocurrency, but for blockchain for sure. So let's make the differentiation at the start itself, and then understand that we're talking about blockchain here. And let's discuss how collaborations can be had in the blockchain sector.
Jenny, what was your question again? I love to answer.
So, how this international cooperations and partnerships can benefit all parties, and actually, because I'm Chinese, I know it pretty well. The government really don't care about the technology if it doesn't make money, if it doesn't contribute to the GDP. They only care what is the most important, maybe the chips, the GPU, maybe the electronic car, and they can make a lot of money and tax on it. And those cryptocurrency they cannot tax on, they hate it. So it's about the partnership and collaborations, cross-border collaborations, how it can benefit everybody.
Sure. If that's the case, this is not very much about whether it's about crypto or whether it's about blockchain technology. I think in terms of collaboration right now, I wear many hats. I am also an advisor to Bybit Exchange. They are a huge derivatives exchange right now. We partner with Red Bull, Oracle Red Bull Racing. Um, we talk to Red Bull and their fans, in a very partnership manner. We try to use and work with big brands to enlarge our footprint in the Web3 space, right? Enlarge our footprint with the big brands, telling them, how our NFT is going to work, right? NFT become a product, become a talking point. No one is going to talk about what blockchain is all about. So, first point that I want to bring out is, we should look at working with real commercial or big brands, to increase our footprint, in the space, to let more people know what we are trying to do. That kind of partnership can reach to many people compared to just trying to work this through an association or the government, because the agenda is always different. When there is a commercial use case, or where there's a demand in the commercial world, the government will then look at this in a very different light, because if we work this through the big enterprises, Jenny mentioned about taxation and so forth, all these things will be accounted for, within that framework. So working with big brands, I think it is 100% the way to go. And again, the underlying technology, behind blockchain, yes, it is really amazing, but after all, it is just a database, to be very honest. So the only way people will understand and resonate to what we are trying to do is the value that comes out from it, whether or not it's through a product, whether or not it's through cryptocurrency. This is the whole journey that we are all embarking right now. Thank you. Okay. Something went wrong with the system again?
I think Jenny's again lost her voice.
Okay.
Yeah, but
No worries. We are fast moving to the end of the end of the session, actually. So maybe out of curiosity, maybe I should just pose a question to all three of you. Um, in your Web3 journey right now, what is the one thing that you would love to change if you have the ability to change it? Because I have a few things that I love to change it, but what what about all three of you? Kris, maybe you can start first, Kris.
Boy, that is such a good question. And you had to call on me first, right? I don't even get time to think about it. But, I would go back to something I said earlier. And I think that is, to a lot of people looking at this space, I think there's kind of an impression that, hey, if I'm going to get involved in blockchain or crypto, I've got to be someone very technical. I have to come from a background in software development. I have to understand networking and consensus and all these very complicated things going on behind the scenes. And the truth is, yeah, technical people are important, but they're just one part of the overall pie. If you get a great group of engineers and they build the best product in the world, but you don't have someone good at sales and marketing go out and tell the world why what you built is so great, well, then what have you really accomplished? So, if I could wave my magic wand and change anything, I would change that perception. I would let everybody know that, hey, regardless of your background, your skill set, what you enjoy, what you want to do day to day, there's room for you here in this space, and we would love to have you.
I think that is a really good point, Kris. I think that magic wand got to swing harder, to make that work. Raj, what about you?
My wish would be to get rid of useless influencers, Web3 influencers in this space, which are really actually they're doing no good for the industry. We have a lot of people who all of a sudden, you see the LinkedIn profiles from the last 3 years, from crypto evangelists to Web3 evangelists. That's a beautiful journey they've taken, only because and some of them have become AI evangelists now, by the way. But anyway, that's one thing I would wish away. That's one. And I think, to add on to what Kris said, I think blockchain as a technology should be all about a conversation. It should be conversations. They should not be talking tech. We should not be talking, as we said, the consensus mechanisms, the private blockchain permission. When we want to make a call, we just pick up our phone and make the call. That's what a guy wants to know. How can I make my call? Can I get a message? Can I get my voice across? That's it. 100 technologies runs inside a phone. Do you really need to know those? I don't think so. So I think it's all about a huge conversation which we need to have all the time. Just like I speak to my wife every day. She has no idea what is blockchain. Today, we have a conversation about blockchain just like we have about what's going to happen for lunch. That's where we need to get and evolve ourselves into. Influencers, we don't need influencers which to have very little foundational knowledge. I started my blockchain journey in 2010. I was a minor way back in the US, by the way, Kris. I was a long time there. It was illegal. It was legal out there, so I could do what I did, and I understood the technology. I understood by mining Bitcoin. I understood blockchain. That time, the only thing which we had was Satoshi's white paper to download and start learning something from there. So I downloaded that, downloaded the footnotes from there, and the footnotes from the footnotes, and that was my learning. That has been deep dive learning, and after that I only got hands-on. I think that's what we need also. We need, instead of some influencers talking everything, we need people to really get educated and working on real live projects, or at least getting simulated projects right up to them. These are the things we need right now. What we don't need is a lot of hype. We've got a lot of hype around Web3. And if I ask most of the people in the Web3 space, can you get naming the Web3 stack? 9 on 10 won't be able to name the complete tech stack of Web3. They'll talk, metaverse. Metaverse, it's AR, VR. 90% metaverses are AR, VR. Now there's some movement going on in the right space, but especially in India, 70 to 80, 90% is all AR, VR. We have very shallow knowledge in this space sometimes. We need to have a deeper dive within that space. And therefore, Web3 is amazingly great, but not knowing it well. So the magic wand would say better knowledge, better awareness, out with influencers, and in with the real good people inside who are doing it without no profit motive. I think that's very important. The profit motive never going to make Web3 fly.
Nice one. Shailesh?
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you guys more, right? It's especially with you, Raj, with all these influences in there, it's really hurting the system. Right? But one thing is that whenever there is money involved, there are bad players, or they always follow, right? But for me, I want to see the iPhone moment. I want to see the Napster moment. I mean, when I say Napster years ago, I mean I've been an advocate of a peer-to-peer tech from day one. In the early '90s, I'm not sure if how old you are, Andy. I'm not sure you were there in the '90s. But I used to use file transfer protocols, or FTPs, and that was my first journey with a peer-to-peer transaction before any of them ever spoke about it, right? That was a proper share of value between two people. Then came Napster. They went and really centralized it, right, and brought an app. So that's a wow moment for that sector. iPhone came in and gave the wow moment for the phone. We are waiting for the wow moment in Web3. Like, I'm building something very special. Right? I'm not pitching the product, but I'm just saying that we're building a travel product. It's built on Web3, but it's not for Web3. It's for everybody. Today's problem is everybody in the Web3 community are building products for Web3. It's the same people they're targeting. No. We got to build solutions for everyone. Like, the travel solution that we are building is based on blockchain, but everybody is going to use it. So we need a product, a solution like that to come out, so people understand, like, and echo what Raj is saying. we should not be knowing we're using blockchain. We should not be knowing, I'm using an NFT, but the underlying tech is there. No problem. So once we solve all these, I think we're in a good space. And again, to what Raj and Chris said, we're still very early. It's how many years? 5 to 10 years. It's very very young. We're here, and hopefully more enterprises, more governments join in. And I'm really positive. I'm really excited for this technology, and and I'm happy to meet everybody because we are today building the internet of tomorrow.
That's
Yeah,
yeah, that's
Shailesh.
nice. That's nice. Yeah.
Oh, I can speak, right? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we hear you now. Welcome back.
Yeah, I totally agree with Salaj. I couldn't agree with him more. The reason that we are having this like crypto talk, blockchain conference is actually weird. Have you ever heard of an internet conference, a PCP/IP conference? No, because it's just like the air you're breathing, which means we're like super early. Andy, sorry to interrupt you. Keep on going.
No, I was just about to to just say I think yes, in the good old days where the BitTorrent was around, that's really a good product where peer to peer can then really examify and spread to so many different people. But for my magic wand, I still think that if I could change, I would try to find a better layer one to begin with. You know, that is something that's more practical, something that is more of a base value for everybody to build on. That magic wand, if it would ever happen, I think changing the layer one to something a lot better and palatable would actually expand our journey a lot more, right? As for we talk about money, we talk about education and so forth. I still think that the main problem for many of these companies is that they fail to make money. They fail to make real revenue out from what they are trying to build. If they are not able to churn out any revenue, this is not far away from a Ponzi scheme if they are still selling their tokens. We are still around, talking about blockchain and cryptocurrency for a reason. I think we all did well, and of course we hope that we could continue to do well in the next 5 years, right? Back to you, Jenny. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm totally agree. Because blockchain is like evolutioning like really fast from the ICO, IDO, IEO, and NFT, DID, layer one, layer two, ZK roll up, and like DeFi, like LSD, like everything like happens so fast. Like every month you got a new concept jumping out. So I'm pretty sure that like we're at very baby stage, like we're having a lot of opportunities. And I have this like very last question for Mr. Kris Bennett. Uh, Blockchain has potential to revolutionize various sectors. From your experience, can you tell us the most promising industries that could be beneficial from blockchain?
Boy, Jenny, that's such a great question because it's such a hard one to answer, right? How do you narrow it down to any one particular industry? Again, we look back at the internet. What industry did the internet benefit the most? Well, it kind of not only benefited all the industries that existed at the time, but look how many new ones it created. So I think if I really had to pick, probably the industry that benefits the most from all this technology is one that we don't even know about today. One that's going to emerge because of us using this technology. One of the most exciting things to me is I think there's so much opportunity for us to work together, different organizations to work together, different governments, countries, user groups, etc. But oftentimes one of the big problems we face is, okay, if we're just using centralized technology, whose technology are we going to use? If Andy and I want to partner together and work on something, that's great. But do we keep all the information in his database or mine? Sometimes that gets to be a difficult question to answer. And the great thing about this decentralized technology is we can kind of look at it as shared IT infrastructure between the participants. And I think that's going to open up so many doors in the future, and the ramifications of that we're probably just starting to come to terms with. So again, that's why I encourage everybody, regardless of background, regardless of skill set, if anything that we're talking about here today sounds interesting, dive in. We need help. There's a tremendous amount of opportunity, and you may be the one to start a new industry that doesn't even exist today. So how cool is that?
That's true, because we're at the early stage. Think of this: you are a college student at like 70 who studies computer science. So excited. And actually, we have like 10 more minutes. So I want to give this last question to every one of our panelists. You can say like anything you want. Maybe want to focus a little bit on the future of this industry, how you see the future, like where this industry is going, like where are the opportunities for a like individual investor? What should I prepare for? So who want to go first?
All right, I'll go first.
Cool.
Okay, future. Let's step back 10 years. How many of us used to use Google Pay to make payments 10, 15 years back? Hardly anybody. Kris is using it. Yeah,
just one.
You still remain the minority if you're using it. But I'm talking about in general, very few of us were using that, because people first doubted the technology, were not very sure how money is being transacted through an app or whatever. Fast forwarded to now, almost everyone's using some form of an electronic payment, whether it is a Google Pay or it's an Apple Pay or a PayPal or whatever. It's the whole scenario has changed. There's been a paradigm shift. In the history of any technology, that's just a small little blip. Actually, if you look at the 10 years or the 12 years, it's a very little blip. We are in that blip right now. Blockchain is going to be all pervading. I see with the government of India, for example, has got more than 90 to 95 projects on the blockchain. I'm working on about 18, 20 of them myself. So I know that there's a lot of action happening there. The government is actually a good barometer, because they move. Everybody believes that they move like an elephant. They're slow, but they move. Now, they've also taken out 3 documents on blockchain over the last 4 years. And the national strategy and what's going to happen, the blockchain road forward, etc., all by the ministries. Now, that is a movement I see. I don't see that for AI. I don't see that for IoT. I'm not seeing that for any other technology. I'm seeing it for the blockchain space. Trend. That's a trend. The trend means that's what they believe in. That's what a lot of the government is believing, that blockchain could be the silver bullet that they're really looking for. That's what they think. The third, I think Jenny said, every day there are something or the other popping up, ICO, IDO, IEO, all sorts of things. I think there are more abbreviations in blockchain than anything else. We can probably have a new lexicon out there, That's what I think. But with that's not how it should be. I think, again, I go back to what I said. It should just be a smooth, free-flowing conversation, which tells you, oh, this is how we use it. Whether it's blockchain or AI or cloud, nobody really knows and nobody really cares. It should be conversational for everybody. And that's what's going to happen even for blockchain. And he also mentioned very nicely that, yes, there should be enterprise adoption. The enterprise should believe, all right, that's something, I see something in it. What's in it for me? I think people are going to all pivot towards making enterprise see what's in it for them, rather than what they see in the product for themselves. Every founder thinks that, again, I've got the best product since, again, as I said, sliced bread. It's not that. The enterprise, that's the businesses should see that. I think that's where the pivot is going to be, from perception, from positioning, from creating products which make sense and solve, as I said, the real world problems. There's a lot more going to happen, but I think the trends, and of course, we'll have the CBDCs coming up. Almost every country is going for a CBDC. Whether they work or not, we will not. We will only time will tell. The Nigerians came up with it, but they stumbled a little. But they're again correct. There's a course correction again. India is doing a pilot. A lot of them, I see, even by 2030, most countries using some form of a CBDC, either their own or somewhere else. I also see a lot of fractionalization of assets going forward in the future. I see that happening in the US. Right, I'm working I work very closely with a firm in USA. I'm an advisor there. We've just capped $5 billion in asset fractionalization. In India too, yesterday we did the first one. It's made some waves here. Fine. I see a lot of assets being fractionalized, not just real estate, not just gold. We are fractionalizing right now. I'm even fractionalizing whiskey casks, my liners, jet planes. Wow. I mean, some of it is just a little bit of fads, yes, but a lot of it, the world is moving towards a fractionalized database, fractionalized way of looking at things. I think fractionalization is going to be there. And finally, the economics of today are going to be the tokenomics for tomorrow. There's going to be a shift from the economics we talk about today to the tokenomics. And I'm not talking tokenomics from a crypto perspective only. I'm talking about from a serious learning point. We will lead that. People will need to understand. And I think in the education space, economics will also have a supplementary subject called tokenomics. I'm speaking, I teach at about 40 universities right now. I teach tokenomics. So I know what I'm speaking about. Everybody wants to know. Whether they apply it or not, we'll see. But it's going to be. So the shift is going to be towards tokenomics, fractionalization, and pivoting of how the products are going to be made now.
That's cool. That's cool. Actually, I'm also working for a crypto exchange. I'm a listing BD, so I review like hundreds of projects every month. So real world assets, RWA, which Raj just mentioned, like was a huge thing right now. So we truly see the trend is coming. So like definitely there are like a lot of opportunities. Like many of my friends always complain to me, oh, like I should have bought Bitcoin when it's $200. I said, you're still early. Like you can still buy like a coin that goes like 1,000 times. So there are always like opportunities as long as you just keep yourself like stay close to the information, stay open-minded, and don't be afraid of trying, such as the DeFi or something like new things coming out. You just go to try it. Use like maybe $20, like the BRC20 NFT came out, and then maybe you want to have a little try, and even you failed, it's only $20, but if you catch the trend, it could be 10,000 times. So my suggestion for like all this like individual investors is first stay alert. You need to like protect yourself. Like I know like many people not familiar with the decentralized wallet. They're not familiar with like all this like approval things. They click the wrong links and they approval like strange contracts, and they like do like strange transactions and lose everything, and they complain on the project, which doesn't make sense. So you educate yourself and then you protect yourself, stay alert. And I always do this like how can I say it, like a training for me and my friends. We always have this little game. The game's name is try to escape in 1 minute. What does it mean? Like when you heard a really bad rumor about an exchange, what should you do? You should run away no matter whether it's true or false. You run away within 1 minute. It only costs you $1, and then you run away. Even if it's false, you just transfer it back. But like 1% of the chance, if it's real, you lose all your money. So I think like maybe like for all the newbies, you can try that. Like how I can escape within 1 minute. So like before you enter, you need to know like how I can run away. So when something goes wrong, that is first, be alert. And the second one is be open-minded, like always accept the new things. You don't call things scam like even before you try it. So yeah, that's for from me. And Shailesh, like can you give us a little like a tips?
Well, I'm somebody who don't like to talk about investing into blockchain and crypto assets. That's a very individual uh, approach, and everybody should. I understand that DYOR has been used aggressively, but I could not tell you how important that is. To learn before you even start putting in money into the industry, right? But to come to what are the industries that is, let's say, okay, so blockchain has already done amazing stuff in the finance industry, right? That's the first industry it took hold of, right? I mean, look at what Bitcoin did. Years ago, we had the barter system. After the barter system, we were using commodities, gold and silver to trade. Later, we were using plastic money, and now we have Internet of Money. It's what the blockchain has brought through, and it has changed finance in a whole different way. That industry has been disrupted, right? If you look at the new one, like Raj was saying, is a tokenization of real world assets. There's tons of opportunities there that everybody should look at and get hands on. I mean, if I am investing, this is something that I'm eagerly looking at. I'm part of a project that's doing something like this, and I'm sure a lot of people would advise you as well that tokenization of real world asset is the new um, blockchain paradigm right now that everybody's trying to get into.
Yeah, some great thoughts there. I'll, kind of tie together with what Shailesh and Raj were both saying, talking about the fractionalization of assets. I personally think there's a lot of opportunity if we look at those assets in our life where there's a big purchase price, right? The barrier to entry is pretty high, but then this is an asset that we don't get a lot of use out of. I think those are areas that are prime for disruption. So we hear all the time about the arrival of self-driving cars. And hey, you're going to go out, you're going to spend all this money for a self-driving car, and maybe it's going to take you to work in the morning and bring you home in the evening. But the other 23 hours a day, it's just sitting there, not doing anything. Areas like that in our lives, I think, are prime candidates for disruption, for this idea of fractional asset ownership and leasing. I would say to anyone looking to maybe make an investment in the future, that would be my advice. Look there. I think that's where we're going to see the most amount of disruption early on.
Right, you got. I'll shift a little bit of that, from what both Shailesh and Kris have said. Actually, I'm working on probably the best investment for the Web3 sector myself, with the government of Goa in India. One of the state governments is actually, we've signed an agreement with them to create the world's largest Web3 ecosystem and a district in India itself, right now in Goa. The whole project is called Web3 on the Sea. So when we talk about projects, we are going to have a lot of use cases being built here, the centers of excellence within this space. And they're all going to be in the ship, my friends. We actually put together 5 beautiful ships, which are going to be accelerators for Web3 projects. And of course, everything is going to be in this, because I think what is missing right now is a very strong, robust ecosystem. Now, we'll have investors, we'll have VCs, we'll have a founder school, we're going to have a lot of things. We're going to have about, in the next 3 years, the government and we plan to have about 1,000 units in this beautiful, I stay in Goa, by the way, as you can see. It's going to have all this now. We're creating an ecosystem. I think the investment is now in the ecosystem right now, which is a bigger investment. If you look at the larger picture, if you look at the landscape, that's where we are reaching at. So it's based on a principle called live, learn, work, play. And we are making this destination from vacation to a workation destination. So we're doing a lot of work here to see. And we just signed that off 2 months back, so it's just fresh off the off the table. So that's something which is the investment which I would like to make. I'm putting some money. We got a lot of other people putting in some money in this space. More than money, I think we're actually investing in the future of a technology, not just blockchain, but other technologies that will emanate along with or work closely with blockchain. So I think that is an investment which I see as the biggest investment. It's a little deviation from all the other investments. Of course, I've already talked about the fractionalization, etc. But this is an investment I think will pay dividends not just to the ecosystem, but to the nation as well, and then maybe to the rest of the world.
That's true. That's true. Very true. And thank you guys so much for coming to this discussion for the all about crypto. And we are wrapping up today. And thank you all for coming. And let's stay alert and stay open-minded. And thank you all.
Thank you, Jenny.
Bye.
Yeah,
Thank you, Jenny.
Thank you, Jenny. Thank you so
Hey,
much
guys.
for moderating the session. So, as we wrap up this enlightening talk show, I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to all our esteemed panelists, Kris Bennett, Raj Kapoor, Anndy Lian, Shailesh Kunnath, and Jenny Zheng for conducting this amazing talk show. I'd also like to apologize for the technical glitches that happened throughout the show, but you guys kept the energy going and kept the show interesting for all of us. Your valuable insights, expertise, and passion for blockchain technology have enriched this discussion and inspired us all. Your contributions have shed light on the transformative power of blockchain, fostering innovation and collaboration worldwide. I would also like to express our gratitude to all the delegates who joined us today. We hope that today's talk show has provided you with valuable knowledge, thought provoking ideas, and a deeper understanding of blockchain's potential to reshape our world. As we have limited time, I'm not sure. I would like to ask the panelists, like if you guys don't mind, I'd like to address some of the questions from the audiences. Would that be
I
okay?
need I need to go, my friend. I have another meeting to go to, but I'm happy to answer any questions. Either they can connect on LinkedIn or write to me directly. I'll happily do so. There are a lot of questions. In fact, that is what I'm going to say. A lot of questions, but the time is out. I unfortunately really have to go to another meet. So, my guys, you'll have to let me go. I will go. So, Shailesh, Kris, great meeting you guys, and let's keep the conversation going. As I said, it's all about conversations, right? Thanks for everything, guys. I'm going to hop off now, and I'll see you some other time. I'm sure very soon. Bye bye for now.
Thanks, Raj.
Bye,
Thank you,
Raj.
Raj.
Bye.
Bye, Raj. Bye. So, Kris and Shailesh, I'd like to ask you the same question. If you guys had time for one or two questions, if it's fine.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, first question we have. Okay, it's for you, Kris. So the question goes: as a prominent Web3 educator, what are the key skills and knowledge areas you believe individuals should focus to thrive in rapidly evolving blockchain industry? So, from the audience to you, Kris, your answer.
Yeah, that's such a great question. Whoever asked it, thank you very much, because it's one that comes up so often. But what I would say is, rather than trying to conform yourself to blockchain, in other words, don't look at blockchain and say, okay, what are the skills that are needed the most? What should I learn? How should I change myself to fit into blockchain? Look at it the other way around. Ask yourself, what is it I already know how to do? What am I good at? What do I enjoy doing? What skills do I already have? And find a way to bring those to blockchain. And I know I've said this a couple times today, but one of the worst tragedies out there right now in the world of blockchain is everybody thinks you have to be someone very, very technical. You need to come from this technical software developer background. And that's not true. Blockchain projects need good sales and marketing people. They need good finance people. They need good HR people and great project managers. So find whatever it is you're passionate about. Find the thing that you love to do that brings you joy, and then find a way to do that in blockchain. And if any of you guys are maybe struggling with that, hit me up, send me a message on LinkedIn, or shoot me an email, and I'd be more than happy to explore that in more depth with you offline.
Thank you so much, Kris, for your answer. It was a really insightful answer that you gave. So the audience has a question for you too, Jenny. As a media professional and blockchain expert, what challenges and opportunities do you foresee for mainstream adoption of blockchain technology in the coming years forward? So from the audience to you, Jenny, your answer.
Well, I'll say like more opportunities than challenges. Like I mentioned previously, I also for a like top 3 exchange as a listing manager. So we are actually working with a lot of like Web2 giants right now, and they are trying their best to get into Web3 to absorb all this like new blood, new Web3 like high tech blood. And what they are trying to do is like they're trying to convert this Web3 young people to their like Web2 platform. They're having a lot of like a really interesting approach. Let me give you one example. Alibaba which is like one of the biggest company from China, and because of its monopoly, now it's been separated into like 6 companies, and the overseas one is called AliExpress. And AliExpress recently worked with us on a like NFT job. So this is really interesting. So on AliExpress, you click into mine, and then you can see like mint an NFT. And after and if you want to mint the NFT, you need to be whitelisted. How you can be whitelisted? You need to refer 2 of your friends to register AliExpress and order some like products on AliExpress and ship to your own home. So you need to buy from a e-commerce like Web2 e-commerce website to get whitelisted for a Web3 NFT, which is super cool. So I love their ideas. And not only Alibaba is doing that, we also see Starbucks is doing their like membership card with NFT, which is super exciting. They don't even like for this like giants, they don't even want to make money on NFT. They don't want any money from you. They just use NFT as a tool. So blockchain as it is, as a tool, no longer as a speculation thing. So I'm so happy to see it, because like for the first I'll say for the first 5 years of my career, crypto career, I always see people only think of like blockchain as something that you can make a quick buck. But now the world is changing. You can see a lot of people really using this as a tool because it's convenient, because it creates value. So we are actually creating value, so which means this product, or whether it's an NFT or a token, it got real value back it up. So not only Starbucks, Alibaba, Gucci is doing that, Louis Vuitton is doing that. They're collaborating with some like top artists and doing NFT, and Red Bull Racing. Just now, Andy has mentioned that. Like even the F1 champion team, they are dropping a NFT with Bybit. How cool is that? And they're not expecting to make any money. They are just doing a fan engagement, and fans love it. And they dropped it last Friday, I think. And today the price is 3 times. And so one thing, like not to ignore gaming. Like before, like people play Web3 game only, play to earn. They're not playing it. It's like a work. It's not playable. It's boring. Nobody liked that game. But now in 2023, it's play and learn, play and earn. So it's fun. It's like Web2 giants. They're getting into like Web3 games. So they're making some super fun game. And by playing that game, you can own the NFT as a souvenir, or you can use it as a character in the game and earn token. So like we are getting to a new phase of blockchain. So I'm seeing more opportunities than challenges, because we're solving it out. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Jenny, for that wonderful and insightful answer. I think we'll just one last question for Shailesh. So, how do you see blockchain technology contributing to the advancement of industries like healthcare, fintech, and supply chain management? Like, and what are the key hurdles that need to be addressed for broader adoption in these sectors? The audience to you, Shailesh, your answer.
Thank you so much for the question. And thanks everybody for taking the time to hear us out. So, like we all discussed earlier, right? Blockchain has disrupted right now mainly the finance industry, but it's taking off in other industries like healthcare, supply chain. In supply chain especially, there are blockchains who give the end-to-end traceability, from the warehouse all the way to your home, where the product has been, what has been the journey, right? It gives you complete transparency. So in the supply chain industry, definitely, a lot of companies are using this, including big brands like Louis Vuitton. They have been trying to use blockchain to fix their supply chain issues. And one of the new industry that the blockchain is really disrupting is travel. And I want to bring up something what Jenny said about NFT. So Etihad Airline has I think last week, released the NFTs, and it's got proper utility. If you own the NFT, you automatically upgraded from the basic guest to a new tier of guest experience only by holding the NFT. And in addition to that, it gives you extra perks. Right, so the travel industry is being disrupted in a big way. I'm working for a company where uh, you can hold an NFT, and that will give you 30% off on all hotel nights. And I did mention earlier that we are still waiting for the iPhone moment, and these are the products that's going to give us the iPhone moment. Imagine holding an NFT and unlocking 30% discount in hotels. Imagine holding an NFT like Etihad Airways did. It gives you all these perks, like free upgrades, etc. So really exciting space. Different industries are still only looking at the tipping point, but there's so much more that's coming out in there. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Shailesh, for such an insightful answer. So with that, we sadly come to the end of the Q&A rounds. I'm really sorry about some of the questions that couldn't be taken up because of the shortage of time. But I'd like to thank everyone for your participation. We are unfortunately unable to accommodate any more questions at this time, and we must conclude the session. We hope you found the talk show insightful and informative. If you have any additional questions or would like to continue the conversation, please don't hesitate to contact us through our website or social media platforms. Thank you for joining us at the talk show. We appreciate your presence and active participation during the event. As a token of our appreciation, we are delighted to offer you an exclusive opportunity. You will receive a special code for the main event with an exclusive flat 40% discount on your registered email addresses. This exceptional deal is exclusively available for those who attended the talk show. Thank you once again for being a part of our event, and we can't wait to see you at the main event. Thank you for joining us today. We look forward to having you back with us for our next talk show very soon. Stay tuned for more engaging discussions and insightful conversations on the latest topics and innovations. Until then, take care. See you next time. This is your host, Yusuf, signing off.
Thanks, Yusuf. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Thank you, guys. Bye.